get past the learning and just go for it. Even if,
Good.
get through the fear. We all are afraid we're going to fail. That's normal. Just
Yeah.
go through it anyway.
And the funny thing is like the failures are what we should be happy about. I'm so pleased to announce we have April Hyatt in the office with us. April is a branding expert and web designer. And hey, I am so glad you're here. How is your day going?
It's going awesome. Actually, I'm getting stuff done. So that's always a good day.
It is a good day. Oh my goodness. Isn't it a good day when you have like this long to-do list of all these things that you want to accomplish throughout the week? And then when you have a day that's really on and it's like, check, check, check. That feels good. Is it one of those days
Oh,
for
my
you?
heavens. Yes. Yes. So I was like, oh, wow, I'm getting all this stuff done. So
Yay,
yes.
that's awesome. And then you get to like pause for this wonderful girl time here in the office interview. This is going to be so fun. So you are a brand designer and no, a website designer and a branding expert.
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to allow
Yes.
you, like, tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you help people.
So I work specifically with kind of newer businesses, but sometimes those that have been in business for a while. And I help them set up like all their foundations, and all of that culminates, is that the right word, into a
Yeah.
really cool website. So I help you get all of your branding stuff together and decide, who you're talking to and all of that fun stuff and what your colors are going to be and just kind of the basics. And then we put all that together on a website. I help you set up your lead magnet, automate everything, set up your calendar, make sure it's automated, because we
Oh,
want your website to help you and not hurt you. So yes, I help you get more time and then just get your business out there to the world and look really good. Cause we like to look good. I mean, we just do.
we do. I mean, our brand and our, what we put out there is important to us. And yeah. And that's not all you do because I hear that you're a hiker as well. Do you like to hike?
I do. My husband and I, so one of my things in my business, I don't know what you want to call them. I don't know what they're called, pillars or whatever.
Yeah, pillars, sure.
I
Yeah.
don't work weekends. I just don't. Like, that's my time with my husband. And I try to be done at the same time every night. So I don't work nights. I don't work weekends. And every Saturday morning we get up and we go on a hike, and we're not fast or amazing. And when people are faster than us, we move over and just let them go by. But it's kind of like our time to just the two of us connect. And then we're out in nature and we connect and we shut everything else off. And
Where
oh,
are
it's
you at
amazing.
again? You're in Utah?
I, I'm in Utah. So I think there's 5 national parks here. And then within about an hour radius from where I live, oh gosh, if I go on All Trails, which is a little app, it's called All
Yeah.
Trails. There's probably 500 different hikes that we could do, and we try to do as many of them as we can. So
Oh,
love, love, love it.
yeah, I
Yes.
love that. It's so good to have a passion outside of work. We love hiking too. So we're in Alaska and
Oh, nice.
yeah, yeah. And so I mean, we could just walk out our door, at least where we're at. Maybe not in all places in Alaska, but we could pretty much just walk out our door and go on a trail somewhere.
Oh,
With
yeah, that is
our
nice.
bear spray and our bear bells and all that stuff because they are thick here. But I love
Right.
that. I love that. And I love that you take weekends off and evenings off. And I'd love to dive into that for a minute because um as entrepreneurs, like it can be really difficult to separate your business from actually living a life outside of your business. And I think a lot of people could relate to that. So how do you structure your day in a way that you can sign off in the evenings?
You know what? I am not the greatest at structuring my day. Total
But you must be
transparency.
in some way.
But I do know, so I'm a deadline person,
Yes.
and
Okay.
I set a deadline for myself. So I kind of get up and I'm like, okay, this is what I've got to get done today. And then I know I have to be done at 5:30 or 5 o'clock or whatever. Usually it's between 5 or 5:30. And I just think I'm going to be done by then. And I literally just in my head, I know I am done at this time. So I'm really good at thinking through things and saying, okay, I can start this project and I can get either finished or to this point by that time. And if I know I can't get to a good stopping space, then I'll think, okay, well, I'm going to put that project on tomorrow, and then I'm going to get this other thing done instead. And
Hmm.
so it's really a mental game for me. And I've just done it enough that I just know at 5 o'clock, I'm done. Like, no questions answered. I'm just done. And I've tried it the other way. Like, I've tried it in the past before where I think, oh my gosh, I have so much to get done. And I've got all these things I've got to do. And I'm going to get up really early and I'm going to stay up really late. And you know what? I don't get any more done doing it that
Yeah.
way. None.
Oh,
And so I
that's so
thought, why do I
true.
do that?
That is so true. And a great point that you brought up. Yeah, because if we give ourselves more time to do the same amount of stuff, we will fill the time. We'll fill the time. So whether you
Mm-hmm.
give yourself a shorter amount of time or a longer amount of time, you're going to fill that time with the same amount of stuff. I like that. I'm all for time management and scheduling. Like, I actually love coaching and that stuff too. But there really is like, we have to kind of find our own groove of what works best for us. And I just, the reason I like this is because I like that you have boundaries around your personal life so that you can still have this intimate time with your husband, be able to hike and whatnot, and then come refreshed. Lots of people will work every day, and I'm like, at least take off one full day so that you can rest from that and live life. But it's really easy to just keep going and keep going. But like you said, if you wake up really early or choose to stay late, like, there's always something to work on. So if you give yourself less time available to work, you're going to get as much as you can done in that time period. And you probably won't be spending time on the things that are not really essential to what you have to do. Right.
Yeah, and that's what I found is the kicker is when I became kind of really strict with myself in doing that. All of the things that I was doing that really weren't that important fell off because I just didn't have time to do those. And I refused to work extra hours just to do all those dumb little things that I didn't really like doing anyway. So I got rid of all the stuff that I didn't like to do or that really weren't productive for me. And then I just thought, okay, I'm going to do this. So yeah, when you do that, all the other stuff just falls away and you realize that's just not important. This is what's important. This is what I'm going to do. And the rest of the stuff just goes away.
Yeah.
So the other thing that I found too is it lets your brain rest because I think we all need that. Like sometimes if you work really, really hard and you're focused really, really hard on something, at the end of the day, you think, oh, I'm exhausted and I've been sitting all day long. But your brain hurts. Literally, your head hurts from all the thinking, and your brain needs space to just stop and let it, calm down and rest and do its things. So
Yeah, that's really true. I know if I've had a really, really busy day, or like right now I'm in this middle of this, like, I'm in creation mode right now, which can be very taxing, right? Um,
right.
and so there are times where, even though like my timer's gone off or whatever, it's the end of the day, I'm logging off. And I'm the same issue. Like, I don't work on weekends. I never work Saturdays, hardly ever will touch anything on Sunday except for maybe like checking my calendar for the week and setting up the week.
Right.
Um, but um, but when the timer goes off, my brain, because I've been just moving, moving, moving for so long, it has trouble relaxing. So like
Mm-hmm.
like when you say our brains need rest, they need rest, and we need to give them time to practice that rest, especially after a long day. Yeah, I think that's so wise of you.
Yeah.
So,
One of the things I've learned too, Teresa, I'll just throw this in
yeah,
here really fast, is if I'm working on something and I can't figure it out, if I just leave it alone, like literally just walk away, stop doing it, rather than spending hours and hours trying to figure
to
it
figure
out,
it
I'll
out.
just leave it alone. And then the next day, if I look at it with fresh eyes and my brain's had a chance to relax, it's like I can figure it out in my sleep. I literally can wake up and go, oh, why didn't I think about that? And then I'll
Yeah.
try it and it works just fine. So really, our brains just need to rest.
That's good. Yeah. Our brains will keep thinking about things while like our subconscious brain, I don't know if it's subconscious or yeah, subconscious. I was gonna say
Yeah.
unconscious, but it's not your unconscious.
No, subconscious is good.
Your subconscious mind is like still figuring stuff out. So like we can let that go and just trust that tomorrow, yeah, our brain is gonna be ready to take that on because it's had time to do its thing in the background. So cool. Okay, what tips do you have? You've already shared a couple, but like what tips do you have for somebody who like maybe they are right now struggling to turn off work at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and they're finding themselves working late, but not wanting to, right? Like some people like that. So, but if they're not wanting to and they're wanting to establish these boundaries, what would be some suggestions that you would give to them to help them release so they can do that?
What I had to do was kind of have a little talk with myself. I have lots of little talks with myself.
I like that.
Give myself a pep talk, whatever. But one time I was working and I was in an office, and I always try to have a separate room for an office. And I was working with I don't have kids at home now, but at the time I did. And they would get home from school and I'd be in the office and I'd say hello and whatever. And then I would do stuff. And one day, one of my daughters said to me, she's like, Mom, you're always working, like you're home, but you're not home. Is it really that important? And I thought, you know what? It's not. I only have so much time with my kids, and and my husband travels a lot during the week, so I only have so much time with him on the weekends. And so I thought, you know what? That's the most important thing. Relationships are the most important thing. My family is the most important thing. And I'm going to tear up, but I just had to say to myself, you know what? Whatever it is I'm doing right now, it really can wait. I'm the one that's putting pressure on myself to get it done, and nobody else is. It can wait. And that time with my kids and that time with my husband and whatever, that can't wait. And if that just means, just little things like when he's not out of town and he is working and he walks in during the day, or whatever, if he gets off, I will stop what I'm doing. And my office is upstairs and then he comes in on the main level, but I will literally stop what I'm doing and just walk downstairs, take 2 minutes and say, hello, how are you? How was your day? Give him a hug, whatever. And then I can go back to work. But that's made a huge difference. And I tried to do the same with my kids when they got home from school after that little conversation with my daughter. Stop what I'm doing and let them know they're important. And then it doesn't have to last forever, but just really have a little talk with yourself and say, what is the most important thing to you?
Oh man, thank you for sharing that. I agree completely. I'm looking at my notes because I was taking some notes as you said that about whatever you're working on can wait. And that has been a really, really important lesson that I've learned as well. We as entrepreneurs, we like to have all these goals and we want to be ambitious with the things that we're striving to achieve and get done. But the thing is, like, we'll create our own timelines, like you have a deadline, right? We will create our own timelines of what we want to get things done. And then as those timelines start approaching, if we're not there yet, like we tend to work harder instead of just taking a step back and think, okay, nobody else knows. Like you said, nobody else knows this timeline. Even if you're marketing on social media and you're telling everybody like the launch date of something, like unless you're marketing all the time, the majority of the people in your audience still have not seen those posts. So like we have to be able to let go of some of our expectations or adjust them some in order to keep us sane and still stay productive and joyful, like to appreciate we're still doing, appreciate our business. My kids are now running around, so hopefully they'll come down. They were watching a movie, but anyway, I think it's so important. Other people don't know what we're doing, and so it's okay to make those adjustments. And yeah, if you are even in the middle of a message with somebody right now, like you can honestly say, hey, husband just came home, I'm going to take off for the night and we'll catch up tomorrow, right? We don't have to show up. Oh, yeah, that's so exciting. Yes, you can.
That's awesome.
So her, that was my daughter popping in. Her best friend, who lives right across the street, went on a vacation. And so they've been apart from each other. And she just saw that she's home. So,
Oh,
so
yay.
cute.
See,
I
and that's
know.
important for her to be able to tell you that because it's important to her.
Yeah.
So that's why we have online businesses. That's why we work from home. So
Yeah.
we can do those things.
Yeah.
And it kind of it defeats the purpose if we do this and then we don't allow ourselves to talk to our daughter. It's okay if she walks in the room while you and I are chatting. I get
Yes.
it. I'm a mom.
Oh,
So
I love hearing that so much. You know, that was actually one of my biggest things that I had to get through when I first started an online business was because I used to do live videos all the time. And it was like, as soon as I press live, that's when they needed me or came in or whatever. And I would find myself getting short tempered or annoyed,
Mhm.
frustrated, right? Mad with them. And then it was like, I'm expecting way too much from these little kids. Cause I mean, they're 7 and 9 now, but back then they were much younger, right? But I was expecting way too much from them. They needed their mom. And yeah, I chose to work from home and give up my other career so that I could be with them. So if they need me, they're gonna come. But just having that little switch of my mindset about it like really helped everything. And so now they're popular little kids. You know, people always see them in my videos, and it's totally fine as long as they're not like, yelling or whatever.
Right.
There was one time recently, I was doing a live training and I thought for sure I hit mute, but it didn't mute. And thankfully I didn't like yell something. Not that I would yell anything like super bad, but thankfully it wasn't
Right.
like super bad. But I'm like, be quiet. No, so you could see me, but I thought you couldn't hear me. You could. So funny. But everybody loved it. Everybody loved it because it was real life. And like, yeah, anyway, side note. Oh, that's so good. Okay, well, tell us a little bit about your business journey. Like, how did you get into web design and branding development? Like, how did you get into what you're currently doing now?
When it seems like all my business is when my kids were at home and they like prompted it, but that's a good thing,
It
right?
is a good thing, yeah.
So my middle child is a boy. I have a girl on either end and then a boy in the middle. And when he was in high school, he was probably 14, 15. He had some mental health concerns. And so I was looking for somebody to help him. And it's really hard to find somebody in the mental health or coaching space that works specifically with teenage boys. And so I looked and looked, and he had something very specific that he needed work with and that I was looking for. And I literally couldn't find it. And so I had a friend who I opened up to, and she said, "Hey, April, I know a company. I know a guy that you can work, a therapist that would be great." And I said, "Okay, awesome. Who is it?" And so she told me, and I said, "Okay, great. What's their website?" And I looked him up because I'd been looking before, and I thought, I'm going to go research these people first because that's what we do.
Yeah.
And
Right.
their website was awful. There was no information. It looked really bad. It looked like it was just kind of half done and it
Yeah.
wasn't professional, and it just gave me no confidence in them at all. And so I didn't call. And later a couple weeks later, she said, "Hey, how's that going?" And I said, "Yeah, I that's not for me. I didn't call. I don't think it's going to work." And she said, "No, April, I promise you, this is going to work for you."
Mm,
She said, I know their website looks bad because I told her about that. And she said, "But I promise this is it." And I said, "Okay, I'll call because you said so." So I did. And literally they were exactly what he needed. It was the perfect fit. It was awesome. It was what I was looking for. And so through that experience, I got to know the owner and his business and other people that worked there. And I offhandedly one day made a comment to him and I said, "You are missing so much business because moms like me are not calling you because your website is so bad." He goes, "Really?" And I said, "Oh, yeah." I said, "I looked at it and almost didn't call." I said, "And any other mom that's in the same situation as me is
yeah.
going to your website and they're going, nope, not doing it." And he said, "Well, what if I hired you to build my website? Because you know what we're looking for." And I
Wow.
said, okay, but I haven't done that before. And he said, that's okay. There's courses, there's classes you can take. I'll pay for all of it. And, if you'll just go do that and then you hire it, we'll build it, we'll see what it looks like. And if it's better than what I have, then we'll use it. And I thought, okay, I'll do
Yeah,
that. And
that's
so I
cool.
did, and he loved it, and it went out there. And then he actually had like 10 other, it's like a big business, and then they have programs underneath it. And so he wanted individual websites for all of the programs. So I built those, and then there were lots of coaches and therapists and stuff that he worked with. And so I just got referred out, and everybody I worked with referred me to somebody else. And so just domino effect, it grew. And I was lucky because for me, I wanted it to grow slow because my kids were still at home. And so I only wanted to work part-time in certain hours. And it just, I don't know, I was blessed. It just came perfectly. And then as my kids grew up and moved out of the house, more business came in and I had more time, and it just grew from there. And I found that I loved it. I did that and I thought, wow, why have I not been doing this my whole life? This is so fun. And I'm good
Yeah.
at it. And anyway, so that's how it grew.
Yeah, that's such a cool story. And I love that there is such community in there. Like you were doing, like, if it weren't for the doctor, you wouldn't have known the other people that he referred to, like just talking about you. So
Right.
cool to see like the power in your life so far in your business of word of mouth referral. That's really awesome. Are you also like, now I know it's not the same time period, but are you still growing mainly by referrals at this time, or are you doing more like online marketing, or what does that look like for you for like lead generation?
Yeah, I'm doing both now. I still get a lot of business through referrals, but now now that I have the time, I am spending a lot more time. I'm visiting with you. But I'm in local and national Facebook groups. I'm doing a lot more of the organic marketing. I spend more time doing like the SEO stuff, the search and, letting people find me. So I do a lot more marketing now than I did before, but my best clients still come from referrals. Not that my other clients aren't great, but
Yeah,
they
yeah.
still come from referrals from being in a group with people that I've worked with, and then they
Right.
still refer me to other people in there. So
Yeah.
anyway, so yeah, now it's grown. I do a lot more.
Online, yeah. Well, that's cool. I'm mostly online. I went through a season of doing more in-person networking. But then
In COVID, I'll
decided
bet.
to homeschool. Well, yeah. And we started homeschool right before homeschool was cool.
Oh,
But I don't know. That's what people say, homeschool is cool. That's actually the first time I've ever used that phrase, but I hear it all the time. But
that's cool.
yeah, so but in saying that too, like homeschool takes up more time. So trying to build a business and homeschool full time, and still wanting to like hike or do other things that we're passionate
Right.
about, right? Um, I have to pick and choose with my time. Thankfully, thankfully now I'm at a place in business where I am getting more into the community again. Because I used to man, I miss my business meetings. We had these like monthly networking meetings that were
Oh,
local, and but they were just at the wrong time. I did that for years,
right.
and then it just ended up being at the wrong time for our homeschool. And so yeah, so I'm excited to get back into that. And I really would encourage anybody that's watching, if you can be plugged into your local community, it's so important. um so important on a lot of different
Absolutely.
levels, but yeah, so good for you. I love that. And you're part of you said some local communities online as well as some national communities.
Yes. Yeah. So I searched out specific local Facebook groups, and because they do online and then they also do in
In
person. Or
person, yeah.
and then I've even met people just in the local groups that live near me that I think, hey, let's just go to lunch. We're in the same
Oh,
industry.
I
We can
love it.
talk shop. Let's go have lunch. And I've made lots of friends that way. And then of course just the other, Facebook groups that
Yeah.
are by topic, like female entrepreneurs or, marketing strategies or stuff like that. I'll join those. And I've met a lot of people that way too. So yes.
Yeah, that's cool. So when you are inside of Facebook communities, do you do a lot of like joining in the conversation in the comments, or do you tend to post more? What does that look like for you inside of groups? I call them networking groups, but
yeah, no, that's what they are. I am much better at commenting on other people's posts than I am at making my own posts. So if there's something that I've learned that I think, oh, this is important, I'm going to share it, then I'll post about it. But otherwise, I'm really good at watching other people, what other people are posting, and then commenting. I try to be supportive because I think it's hard out there when you're an online business owner, and especially when you're starting. Sometimes you just need somebody to go, you know what, that happened to me too, or yes, you're on the right track, or something like
yes,
that. So I do
yes.
try to do that. And then obviously if anybody has website questions, I answer those because I typically know. But
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things that I always encourage my clients to do too for networking groups is like, don't just get in there and post, right? Like posting is great, sharing information is great in that capacity, but it is actually a lot better and more useful for our time to get involved in the conversation. Like even if it's a group, like we have to even be choosy on the groups that we're a part of, because like some of my
right,
clients have like some of them, their ideal client is like a busy mom who XYZ or whatever. And so like you can't just go join every busy mom group, because some of those
right,
groups, like you have moms in there that are complaining all the time or whining about their life and stuff. And if it doesn't feel good for you to be like, if it doesn't feel good to you to be inside that community, you're not going to play out well in there, right? Like you're not going to serve full out. So it's important to choose that. But if you're in a group that feels good, like joining in the conversation is key, because you become known. That's how people get to know you. So if you see people ask a question and you can answer it, even if it has nothing to do with your industry, if you can
right.
help somebody, then share, join in that conversation. I think that's super, super smart of you, April. Yeah, so kudos for that.
Well, thanks. I like it when people tell me I'm smart. That's always good.
You're very smart, dear.
Well, thanks.
Yeah. Um, okay. Something else that you had said. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I told you we'd probably talk about this. And I think this actually plays into like furthering this conversation a bit more. Um, when we start in business, like we do feel alone a lot. There's so much you have to learn, and then you try to find help, and not everybody is like super open with their information, and or they want to charge you, which makes sense. Everybody's building a business, but on some level it's like, I just need help. Like I don't even know the questions that I need to ask because I don't know enough information. And so um and so in saying that, a lot of people, they just get started and they just figure it out as they go. And I think there's so much value in that for sure. But when we do that, it is also easy to struggle with something that we call imposter syndrome. And I know you have a little bit of experience with that too. And then just having to make the decision to get over it and get moving. So what did that look like for you? And how did you choose to get over yourself and just get out there?
So, what you said, this is true in any industry, and I'll just talk about mine just because I know it the most.
Yeah.
But there's always people that know more than you. You're never going to be the top of the food chain on knowing everything. And so for me, it was kind of hard because I felt like when I learned websites, I learned it probably differently than other people do. And there's a lot of things I don't know about stuff. And so I often will feel like, oh, maybe I'm not good at this because I don't know that thing over there. Or, I'll be in a Facebook group with other website developers and they're talking about something, and I'll read the post and I'll think, I have no idea what they're talking about. I should probably know this information and I don't. Or, stuff like that. And so I would have those thoughts, and my husband's really good at supporting me, and he was like, April, you're doing well at this, keep going. And then eventually I got to the point that, those little conversations I have with myself, that that finally I just said, you know what, April, just get over it. If people are asking you, you know enough. And that's what I finally decided was, I know enough, and that's okay. Wherever I'm at is enough right now. And I'm never going to know everything. There's always going to be something that I can learn. And then when I learn it, it's technology. It's going to change tomorrow. So you know what? I mean, it's just the way it is. And so I finally just had to get to the point where I thought, okay, it's okay to not know everything. It's okay to not be the answer to every single person's question. And it's okay to look at something and say, you know what? I don't know how to do that, but I'm sure there's somebody else out there that does, and that's fine. And if it's something that I need to know, then I'll go find out the answer or I'll figure it out. But otherwise, I've decided I don't have to know everything. That's okay. So I mean, I kind of got over it, and I work on it every day. I haven't gotten over it. I still have those little conversations with myself all day long. Yes. So between that and my husband, who's really good at saying, April, you're good at this. You've been doing this for a while. Keep going. Then I can go, yes, I do. And then, so yeah, I just have those little conversations with myself all the time.
Yeah. Oh, I so love that you have a very supportive husband. I think
I
that's
do too.
so great. Yeah. Yeah. Right.
It's helpful.
Yeah. And it's true that like, just because we remind ourselves of what the truth is, doesn't mean that those limiting beliefs or those thoughts that are not serving us won't pop up again. Right.
Right.
They'll continue popping up, especially as we continue to grow in our business, especially as we are living in a place of discomfort, continually learning about something. Like, we're not going to feel confident in something that we're learning until we put it into practice. But then we can't even do that unless we learn it. And so like all these things are always coming at us, and we have to remind ourselves, just like you and your husband said, like, we're doing well, and just keep going and learning. And then as you learn something, you gain more confidence in it. Then all of a sudden you get to add that to your repertoire, your list of offers or whatever it is. So important. And the reason I want to bring that back up is because a lot of people think like it's a open and shut story, instead of thinking similar to forgiveness. Like, instead of thinking that it's a one and done, it's like, no, it comes up over and over again. But the more that you practice telling yourself the truth, reminding yourself of what is right or real, and what's just made up in your head or self-doubt or whatever, reminding yourself of that, you get faster at overcoming it. And so it's not that these thoughts are not going to pop up, or we're not going to feel like an imposter. It's just that we get better and better at telling ourselves the truth quicker, so that we can make adjustments as needed. So, I think that's so good. Something I wish that somebody mentored me in way back in the day, because I had a lot up there.
One of the other things I had to just tell myself is, I'm somebody that feels like I have to know everything before I try it or before I go do it.
Yeah.
And so I'm always in learning mode. And so I did the little strength, in the Clifton Strengths Finder thing, and learning is like my number 3 or something. Like, I just like to learn new things. But I had somebody tell me once, and it's just stuck with me. I don't even remember who it was. It's just what they said stuck with me. So he said, April, you can't always be learning. You have to, that's a phase. You learn, and now you have to go do. And in the doing, you're going to learn more. And then if you make a mistake, now you're going to learn from it. Or when somebody talks about that thing that you tried that didn't work, now you can go, oh, that's what that means. Now I know what they're saying. Whereas if you're just constantly in learning mode, trying to just cram everything in your brain, it doesn't quite click until you actually do it. And even if you make a mistake, then sometimes you get it. And when somebody says that, whatever they were teaching you again, it makes way more sense, because you've tried what didn't work. And then you think, yeah, that's it. That's what I should have done. Yeah. So anyway, that's part of the imposter syndrome too, is just get past the learning and just go for it. Even if, get through the fear. We all are afraid we're going to fail. That's normal. Just go through it anyway.
And the funny thing is, like, the failures are what we should be happy about. Like, to succeed, to reach your goal. Like, yeah, that feels great. But when we can look at our failures as actually like, that's the real winning part. Like we really won when we failed because we tried. And
Right.
we get to learn from it and increase our skills based off of that failing, right? Versus if we get it the first time, maybe it's not as big of a win as if we actually put effort into it and learn from the mistakes and picked ourselves back up and did it again. But yeah, definitely seasons of learning and implementation. Yeah, I'm all about taking messy action. I say all the time, action produces clarity. And
Yep.
it does for exactly what you're saying. So awesome. Well, April, what are some of the goals that you're working on over the next few months or so?
So right now, the biggest project that I'm working on, I just finished what are called branding kits. So for anybody starting a business, I noticed that a lot of them get stuck in the branding part and then they never move forward. And they're like, I just can't pick my colors, or I just can't, whatever. So I finished the branding kits, and they're just based on personality. There's about 13 that you can choose from. And I've done all the work for you on that. And now what I'm doing is I'm taking those and I'm making website templates so that you can import a complete website. And then there's videos to walk you through, like everything's done. So I'll say, here's your branding kit. Here's your website. Here's where you put these colors. Here's where you put this font, and the website's done. So just put in your picture here, and here's the wording that you need to put where, and all the layouts are done. And then you're done. So that's what I'm working on now, is getting those templates built and then getting those videos made to go with them. And I'm hoping just to make it easier for people, because it can be overwhelming to just get started and you don't even know what you don't know. So you're trying to Google questions and you don't even know what to ask because you're like, well, I don't know why this isn't working. And so I'm hoping to just make it really simple and just let you get your business out there.
Yeah, that's awesome. What an incredible offer to get to offer people. And I'm just thinking of the flip side too. Do you think it's going to lessen your workload over time? Like, is this something that you're like might be moving your business model some from doing the actual work to teaching it?
Yes, I spent a lot of years teaching and I love the teaching part of it.
Yeah, yeah.
And honestly, the idea is eventually to just, do that. And, there's way less. Once that's done, it's a big project, but once it's done, then it's just upkeep, like updating the video when the technology changes. But absolutely, the idea is to spend less time on the work part of it and just let that run itself. And then I can be more picky about which projects I am going to take on, and, which full clients I'm going to take on and stuff. And so absolutely, I got to be out hiking more. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right. I love it. Oh, that's so great. I think that's an exceptional business model. I mean, like you've done the hard work, the heavy lifting, and now you get to kind of adjust things so that you're doing less of that, freeing up your time, equipping people to be able to do a pretty good job by themselves, at least until or if they feel like they actually need to hire somebody, whether that be you or somebody else later on. You might not even offer that service at all one day.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's
Yeah, for
exciting.
sure. It is
Yeah.
exciting. And I love connecting with people. So one of the things that I do that's a little different is I have open office hours. And so if you have a question, because it's really hard when you're working on something and you get stuck and then you're like, well, I don't even know what question to ask, or I'm stuck here. And so I try to have a little bit of personal connection in there, because I like meeting people too. I don't want to be stuck behind a computer all day long all by myself over here. So yeah, I love that part of it too.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's so cool. Well, April, it has been a pleasure today. It has been a lot
Thank
of
you.
fun. Yeah, yeah. I kind of wish we recorded our little intro video, like us getting to know each other before the interview officially started, because that was fun too. I really
So
look
fun.
forward to seeing the progress that you continue making and to see the shift in your business. Did you have any, I don't know, last words that you wanted to share before we hop off?
Just honestly, I think I said a little bit earlier, my message, just go for it. And you say the same thing too. It's okay to just put yourself out there. And everybody online, teaches you doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't. I'm the ultimate perfectionist. I get it. But just get over yourself and just put yourself out there. It'll be
Get
great.
over yourself. I love that. Here, let's take a selfie. Cheese. I'll share that with you.
Awesome.
Awesome. Okay, April. Well, thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. The Productive and Profitable channel is all about helping entrepreneurs grow wildly profitable businesses without sacrificing time with their families or the things they love. And we do this through top-notch trainings and community. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications button so you don't miss any future episodes. And if you're ready to dive deeper and take your business to the next level, be sure to join our free business community over on Facebook. Simply visit TeresaTaylorCoaching.com and hit the community tab. We can't wait to see you over there.